Welcome back, excuse me, everyone, to Supreme Ruler Ultimate episode number 24, I think. So the consensus appears to be that people don't mind the lack of cuts, and we'll just try to continue on at as fast of a speed as possible. The good news, I can start us right away going here. Nog still has not fallen, so not even challenged right now. Otherwise, we'd see the garrisons popping up, and I'm sure they're there somewhere. But it may be even overrun. So this maybe is the Chinese tactic in the end is... Okay, now there's the garrisons. And there's only one partially... Actually, he's already partially destroyed. So that's the state of affairs over here. I hate to look, but let's just refresh ourselves on the number of kills. Up to 2,500. Something very gruesome. Yeah, so we'll we'll have a lot of ground to make up once this all happens. Now, I have the research screen up for a reason. There is one technology that we've now recently got, this Armor Designs Level 5, which allows us to make the M103A2. And this is a better tank than the M103. This, I guess it's 22 and 20 on the M103, so it does have slightly better stats in close combat, but well, it looks like Poland is protesting against the communist government. Well, we will absolutely support that. We'll support it twice even. Okay, so, but we continue our policy of sitting on our hands. A lot of, obviously, disappointing people by this policy, I think. But look, if you're disappointed by this policy, just think to yourselves, if this policy was in place immediately, we would have maybe 1/5, like 80% reduction in casualties to the USSR. So this is our way of enforcing it until maybe there's some kind of compliance issue or, I don't know, pecking order establishment in NATO. Around this time, it was clearly the US. The US, in fact, West Germany, but more France and the UK felt beholden to the United States because the United States was holding all the money. And those other two countries were obviously just recovering from a very war-torn situation. I guess it'd be better to say that their countries were war-torn and their populations were trying to recover. Also, simultaneously, appropriately, the economies. And we will not raise our prices, or we will not do anything about our prices for timber. We want that to go down, which might drop our GDP. Our approvals at an all-time low. I don't know if it's actually an all-time low, but it seems like it's an all-time low. Nepal is up to 5 stars, so let's keep tabs on them. See, oh man, civilian rating is just so poor that I doubt we'll be able to get anything established here. But in the same way, I think we're also doing this with Pakistan. We'll just continue to fight the good fight. And Pakistan actually did succumb to all the treaty agreements which we now so much desire with Nepal. I think this is a much better way of establishing a casus belli against China. We may take matters into our own hands before that, but it's certainly one possibility. So they're still not really buying it. Maybe we can buy some oil from them. 15 billion. Yeah, their oil prices. Let's do this because if it's over 2 million, it's something we can buy without losing money. I mean, 2 million is just nothing to us anyway. It barely registers. It's the 5th significant digit. So, but I mean, we can still spend 6 million on oil. It's also insignificant, but we actually get a little bit for our money. And they do have notable debt. They should be very happy to receive this money. We can really just keep picking on them. What else do they... Oh, they don't have coal. We want all their uranium. Let's just add this to whatever agreement we do here. It's not very much, obviously. Do they have military goods? Probably not even worth buying. We'll take the industrial goods. Probably not worth buying either. In fact, if we want them to be an ally, we want them to have industrial goods and military goods. We ought to maybe even sell them military goods. Of course, if they end up switching over, we're just arming our ally, our enemy, but yeah, but we can make up the difference here in rubber and petroleum, of course. 4 million? And they'll accept this agreement, so we'll take the 2-to-1 on that. And we should be going all the way up to the second fastest while the war is going on. I don't even think it makes a big difference to go up to the fastest. We'll be so stuck. Oh, okay. Danang has fallen. It happened while we were off negotiating with Nepal. Another thing which crossed my mind is Japan is obviously buying... Oh. What? Oh, they reorganized here. Japan is obviously buying goods from other people, so they have this Bren carrier. I didn't sell them that. They have these Renault G1s. So we're going to make a more concerted effort to sell goods to the Japanese. And I think we're going to start off by selling them this very old artillery that we have, these M2A1s. Is that it? Yeah, these M2A1s. I think they're still useful. 1812 is decent, but the range of 29 means that they don't hit from quite as far away as I'd like. So I'd like to sell them a whole bunch. And we'll probably save a few that we can sell to other people as well. Yeah, we're fine with that. But we'll start providing them their... Ooh, failure. Ah, okay. So they probably... it took us so much time to get the negotiations with Nepal. They probably lacked one of the things that we bargained for. Because I did ask for just basically the max. Hey, do you guys want... no, let's not do that because it then... I'm not really sure about supplying them with artillery. They might not have the military supplies to take advantage of it. Okay, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's not ask for all of anything. Except for this. We'll get most of the uranium. I mean, that's really not that much, but we need to start making or acquiring somehow a lot of uranium. And we did start producing those uranium mining facilities last time. Yeah, and then we'll just stick to petroleum. Whatever can provide us as a means for buying. Labor shortage is up to 2.9. It's a happy number. Basically, it's at 3.0 in my head. I'm already considering where we want to start building. So again, we did build these uranium facilities here. Uranium production facilities. Uranium mines, they're called. I don't know why that's a tough word to say. And we might get rid of even this hydropower plant. They are the most expensive in terms of power, but we're still producing below the world average. So, probably it doesn't matter yet. Rubber, we're still looking good. These things are so cheap that it doesn't really bother me that we don't have enough. I guess petroleum will be an issue. It eventually will spike. Coal is going to spike, but actually out of all these things, we can already start to see the signs of agriculture being one of the major players. And one of the things I like to do is just build this up in the northeastern area. It's kind of funny because I think, at least historically, we associate this part of the United States as more like the industrial sector. Like Pittsburgh, steel mills, Baltimore, all these stuff. You don't really think of agriculture, but that's kind of the direction we're going to go in this game. It's going to be lots of agriculture. And that's because I usually end up seeing agriculture spike to like around 900, which is insane, but means that you really ought to be producing as much as possible at that point. So, where's like, yeah, okay, they're gonna build it. They're gonna choose to build it in the locations which I actually do not really want them to build as much, because agriculture is pretty much available everywhere. It's pretty much everywhere in the country. If we look at something like coal, it's much more limited. Same with, not iron, I mean metal ore's not so bad. Uranium, a bit more limited even still. I usually build this around Austin. But I started building here, I could always build that up even more. It just depends on where you're going to get supply. I mean, I can probably get supply over here. How bad is the supply here right now? Yeah, it's really not that bad. I mean, okay, it makes a pretty compelling case that we ought to just build something. It's going to require a few bridges, which are a little bit more expensive, but obviously there's some good uranium mining that we can have up there. Yeah, and we want to accept everything as much as possible, I would say, just because I think it helps our relationship with the world, and we're seen as a better, whatever, more willing trade partner, which is a good thing. Man, Norway ended up here. I mean, all this is good to push any nation which is sending troops more firmly into the NATO camp. The fact that, yeah, I said Norway, it was Norway, but in my head I thought Sweden, who is not, in fact. Oh, they are NATO aligned, but we're not an ally. I don't think, it seems like they have a hard time. Yeah, they don't accept alliances. Funny thing is, we can get a pretty good deal out of Switzerland, usually. Oh, well, not this time. Oh, what? Oh, this is it. So Greece and West Germany, that's fine. Now, this is going to create some problems because people are going to want to use the Suez Canal, and how is Egypt going to treat all these international transports, including even the ones from our opposition? We can see East Germany is trying to send some forces probably all the way over to China. Poland's already there. Good old France fighting the good fight, losing as many soldiers as they can, really. I mean, I still hate to look at this list, but they're up to... So China's still losing in that race. Even though France has lost 1,600 units, that means that they've lost less manpower-intensive units. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and accept this, even though it's not a good deal, really. We want the petroleum. We don't really mind the shortage of money. It's not that big of a deal. 4 million we're losing. And again, I want to improve our international perspective, or international... Oh yeah, we're way up in this for this election. International outlook on the United States. Ah, somebody's neglecting to give us something. Nope, that's just the election counter. Okay, so we'll have to hear that for the next 50 days or whatever it was. And yeah, I think that the supply depot agriculture boom, we'll do it not quite yet. We want to do, I mean, one of the things obviously is we're going to want to do rubber as well, because we're producing it so much. But I mean, if you think about it, I mean, these prices are pretty insane. All right. It's high time for us to stop losing so much money importing rubber. Let's see what kind of money loss we have going on here. So rubber is costing us nothing, right, because we've already bought it ahead of time. We have a huge stockpile. Nonetheless, I think it's not, I mean, it would be a bad idea to wait until we run out. So let me get rubber up here, and... Okay. No, I don't want roads, I actually want railroads. This is the wrong one. Son of a gun. There we go. Cancel this. Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, why? I've never built the roads this way. Yeah. And then we'll even do one like this. And we'll do one like this and one like that as well. So all roads lead to here. And now, what we want to do is start placing rubber plants here like there's no tomorrow. And on top of that, any place that where we have room, we also want to build supply. Yeah, we'll get one there as well. So that's a lot of supply. Okay, domestic price is too high for timber. Still going to hold off on that. 31%, we're at an all-time low, just before the election. Okay, that's fine. Okay, we'll accept this. Again, we just want to establish good relations with everyone. I think it's going to help us in the long run. Another thing I think I'm going to do is go ahead and try to sabotage slightly. Oh, I already am. Okay, never mind. Just doing that to try to destabilize their government a bit. Their approval rating is 29.9. As long as that's lower than mine. I'd especially like it if it was a lot lower than mine, but it's just at least somewhat lower than mine. We can handle that. How's this war going? It's currently at a pause. I mean, this is... Well, we see that with the fall of Danang, it's probably the beginning of the end. Nonetheless... This. Mark 1 Boy Scout. Nonetheless, we appreciate the good fight. Fighting the good fight here. Ah, look at that rubber. So Vietnam is good for something, besides just being a total death zone for all American troops. Yeah, and so then you can see we have more rubber we can build up. For now, I think I'll just build up the infrastructure. And it's nice to have these roads here anyway, because it's going to allow us to move more quickly to and from the military base to Honolulu, to Pearl Harbor. So we'll start those, and those don't take troops. I mean, those don't take any, you know, they don't pull from our labor pool. You can see we have a midway class here. I don't know what I'm doing with that, but something, I'm sure. I mean, yeah, everyone's just kind of hanging out since we've been kind of... I mean, the government has given the military an order to stand down from this engagement, but we're still on high alert. And as the council, the UN Council, U.S. military councils, etc., all the different investigations going into this whole war, trying to find out, like, what is the appropriate military action here. And we know, from an out-of-character perspective, from a non-role-playing perspective, that we will not engage China until they first conquer this area, just so we can eliminate this demand of troops that are force this pretty terrible situation over in Leningrad, and which persists even to this day. However, once that situation is cleared up, we have freedom of operation. We can act whenever we want. 2.9%, that's still fine. Wow, we're still 8% over the lowest. These polls are usually pretty spot on. I've never lost an election. Losing an election isn't a big deal. It just transforms your government from a democracy to a dictatorship, so long as you have military control. And we do. We have military approval 100%, so they'll keep us propped in power. We don't want that to happen because the role-playing side of it will get a little bit messed up. We won't be able to just abstract ourselves as the normal U.S. We'll have to kind of form an alternate timeline. It's funny that Yugoslavia is also using our Easy 8s. We could have Easy 8s versus Easy 8s. It's a pretty good tank. I don't know what they're doing with it. No, I mean, it makes sense. I don't know, maybe even the Russians have Easy 8s. No, I'm sure that they have M4s, but I don't know which ones we were lend-leasing to them. They had a lot of their own tanks. I don't think they really needed. Probably the biggest thing... Okay, I speak without knowledge, but I'm guessing the biggest thing that we leased to them, and lend-lease to them, we as in the United States lend-lease to the USSR during World War II, at least as far as, some kind of vehicle. I think it was the trucks that was most important for them. Not just to supply, I mean, not just for moving troops or whatever, but for supply routes. Getting some trucks that could actually deliver stuff. And the roads, not amazing condition over there in Russia, so it does take a toll on trucks. Well, let's see what we have here. Peru, by all means. Might be worthwhile to kind of stop and take a moment to look at our relations with the rest of the world. So, a lot of red, but a lot of green, and then a lot of red. Wow, what does Brazil hate us? What have we done? I'm going to go ahead and start improving relationships with Brazil. It's not a nation I really want to go to war with or anything. The little pockets down here I'm not as concerned about. Like why Ecuador hates us, I don't know. But in terms of this Monroe Doctrine that I preach about from time to time, I'm serious about potentially committing forces to take over the entire region. Once we've gotten all the NATO, all the countries we want, or have lost any of the ones that we can't have to the Warsaw Pact, once the world's divided, there's no point in like waiting. We can just go on our provocative missions all we want. So it would behoove the Warsaw Pact, and we can insinuate this in our speeches, it would behoove them not to go around conquering the entire world or swinging everyone over to... I mean, they won't go conquering the world because we'd resist that. But it would behoove them not to sway every nation into their side. Now, the unspoken message, which hopefully is not a message at all, but there is some like hidden logic there that if we end up taking the other nations, we're just as likely to go ahead with our plans. So basically, if there's no other unassigned or non-aligned nations, that's the point in which our actions no longer really matter. So it's kind of nice to have the game balance in this place where our actions do matter. Like Cuba right now. Not a nation that I really care about keeping goodwill with, but boy, they're not in good shape. Oh, I always like to accept the agreements from them. Industrial goods, or industry goods as it's called. Yeah, that's one of the things that should maintain a very sizable advantage on is consumer goods from now until eternity. Should just be a very big producer of that. In fact, industrial goods is actually really important as well. Although we might have to just settle for importing those. Alright, we'll build a few more. I mean, elections happening soon. So we can start being I'm just trying to be a little conservative about exploding our production facilities everywhere and then going back into this bad situation from the perspective... Oh, this game paused. Or from the perspective that we need to wait a long time for our production, our labor pool, I should say, to get back up to 3%. If we go on too massive of a building project, we'll take away from our labor pool. We'll have that same problem again. What are they asking for? Agriculture. Oh, they're offering it to us. Seems like a strange situation to have Taiwan offering the United States agriculture. But so be it. I mean, we really ought to start building the agriculture up. I don't want to explode in my production, in my building projects quite yet. Maybe get to 3.2% and I'll feel pretty safe then. Anyways, we were looking at our relations with the world. So it's basically all of Asia dislikes us, except for some holdouts, which is more France than anything else down here. But it does include Thailand and... Well, does it include anything else? No. Oh, well, I guess Indonesia does like us. So that's standalone. And the Philippines do too, although they're... colony? Are they our colony? They're not. No, they're just the Philippines. They're not a colony, of course. This is post-World War II. And Australia likes us. That's good. I mean, they're NATO, so we'd expect that. It was a pretty... I think it was a pretty good move for us to actually pull off all these alliances. They're not easy to get. Australia and New Zealand. I mean, they're not always easy to get. Let's take a look at Europe. Well, it's pretty clearly divided. West Germany, Italy. The funny thing is, Austria and Switzerland, which have both declared themselves to be Warsaw Pact aligned, are just very good allies of ours in terms of, I mean, very good. We have very good relations with them. All right, so we completed what? Oh, the F4 Phantoms, and that's can't be all because I don't think we built 35 of them, did we? Supply depots, okay. Yeah, okay, so we got 30 Phantoms and then 5 supply depots. We have an offer from West Germany. We'll accept it. More industrial goods. Continue to support Nepal. Yeah, let's go back over to Nepal. See what's going on there. Too high. That's fine. Approval 32.7. Hey, it's on a big upward swing right before the election. Look at that. Well timed. Not that we had any real say in the matter. Alright, well, they're not very happy with us still. Let's just continue to try to buy petroleum, I guess. To amend that. Korea is going to be a dear ally to us for a long time. Yeah, and that's another ally I could end up selling some artillery to. I guess we will. Five, maybe 7 total. This is pretty decent artillery, but I just very easily can build better stuff. And there's a lot of good artillery the US can build. So we're selling off these, whoops, M2A1s. Where are they? Is that the last of it? No, here it is. We still have 43 apparently. My goodness. So we're selling off this 1812 at 29 kilometers, but the really good stuff, besides these M40s, which are really good, 2417 at 41 kilometers, but the best ones are, because these are a little bit pricey. Oh, I guess it's really not that bad. 2 million to build, but more importantly, the 13 now million annual maintenance. The M114, it moves at 25 kilometers, which is barely slower than the M40. Okay, it's significantly slower, but it's still fast. You just don't want something which is 6, 8, 10, whatever. 25 is fast enough that they'll get there. And this is 2118 at 41. Very cheap, 1.5. Obviously, the M2A1 is going to be extremely cheap too, but yeah, it's a little bit faster. I mean, you can make an argument that this is still a very viable artillery. We're down to 36. I mean, we still have plenty of them left. Okay, got all our agreements. Wow. They've pushed all the way back up to Danang. This is really just the war that never ends. Okay, so where else do we want to focus our attention in the meantime? Yeah, because I do want to get Brazil up. I think Brazil's government may collapse a few more times, but I still want the people to be happy with me, so we're just going to have try to have some positive relations with them indefinitely. I could almost make the same kind of argument here. I know that they've already gone over to the dark side, so to speak, but I think we'll still support their South Africa just so that we have good relations with them. When at some point well, I mean, if they ever somehow, in any way, I'll leave it to your imagination, are reverted from Warsaw Pact line to NATO. However that may happen. I mean, it's a no-brainer we're going to accept from Sweden, but let's take a look. Everyone wants industrial goods. Oh, they want to sell us industrial goods. Well, that's even nicer. Yeah, we'll accept all industrial good purchases. Okay, so we're about to finish this research, and then that's going to pop in the submarine, I think. Thresher. Yeah, and again, we do have on the... I mean, it's not actually... We might want to start building these faster. I mean, what's the M60 look like? 20 and 33? I'm sure we've done this comparison. 24, 35. It's pretty good. It's really not that terrible. We'll probably end up building the M103A2s though. So the Hawk is gonna finish. Space Armor has a technology that we want to research immediately. Reactive Armor, which is gonna unlock some good stuff for us. On top of that, it's gonna unlock Tank Tech 64, and that's gonna unlock even better stuff for us. Well, actually, does it? No, it doesn't. Well, spoke a little bit too quickly there. Okay, there's the Hawk. I'm just gonna put in the Thresher. And then we need one more technology to finish before we can pop in the M103, which will finish A2. I mean M103A2, and that'll be the project we start as soon as the Rangers finish. Multi-stage rockets is going to lead to definitely 1, 2. Okay, so we're actually going to have to pause whatever we start anyway after Rangers. 25. Like only a day later as well. Let's make sure our minister's still full. Yep, full money. Want to give all our people full money. Where's that come from? Well, you know, this insane taxes. 69%. It's down a little bit. It was at 70. Do we have accrue revenues? We do, but we don't have increased treasury. Okay, so I'm being reasonable. Alright, I think we'll take off this overlay and just watch the war happen. Ooh, Portugal and Greece. Yeah, the other slippery one, I don't know why they're so slippery, is Madrid. Spain. Why? I don't know why it's so hard to get a full alliance with them. Which would really help me out. Even though they are already NATO aligned, we don't have to focus too much on it, but since we have money to burn right now, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Money to burn while we have 69% taxes. But hey, maybe that's how the politicians feel in Washington. Sometimes you don't know. Alright, Danong has been... Any thrust towards Danong has been repelled. And it looks like there's another push going on by the Chinese. Everyone has held on kind of valiantly over on the west side. The last of, what is this, Cambodia? No, Laos. This is Cambodia. Might have to get rid of these C-114s. They're aging. They're pretty old now. They've been in service for 13 years. Not too bad. A bit vulnerable. I mean, I'm going to keep the other ones in reserve for as long as possible. My Strato Fortresses, or no, not Strato Fortresses. Strato Tankers? Can't remember. Oops. Strato Tankers, yeah. And these are just so expensive. And I think you pay 50%, 10%, I don't know, somewhere between 10% and 50% of this annual maintenance. I think I've actually gotten conflicting reports, and I never did the math myself. Okay. And that's more industrial goods, which we'll take. Alright, well, let's see how things are going over here. We've completed all of these. Okay, move on to the next. How's supply going? It's not great. Even though we did build a lot of supply depots. And I've actually found this is a weird, I don't want to say bug, but some kind of weird part of the way this whole thing goes in Hawaii. That supply is very hard to get up. And there's other things we can build, not that we need to build anything. I mean, nothing is as important, as critical as the rubber. Yeah, so it looks like it's only rubber and the agriculture, which can also be built here. So we can probably, after we have enough supply in this entire area, we can build extra agriculture, since we'll already have invested so much time into getting the resources. I mean, it's weird. Into getting the supply of this area up. Yeah, we'll still accept that. Supply depots are up and running. People still think timber's too high. We're down to 31%, maybe as a result. Our public relations have really just gone up and down over the last 2 months or so. Yeah. I'll probably call this video the Fall of Danong, even though most of our attention wasn't really on this war. It's been more about reaching out to the international community, trying to make sure we set ourselves on a good path moving forward. It's not too necessary. I mean, if we're going to fight really offensive wars, we might still get proxy help from a lot of NATO. Even if we don't, I think as the United States, you're well equipped to just build a big enough army to deal with it yourself. So that's what we'll do. That's what we've already started to do. With all the Green Berets we're building, and believe me, when those Bradleys come in, we will be purchasing them. We'll be researching the M113s, because they do have an a upgrade path as well. These guys will also be part of that. How much longer? 28 days. It can't come soon enough just so they stop bothering me. Okay, spaced armor is going to be done in 6 days. Doesn't lead to anything. Reactive armor leads to... the M2! Well, it says M2A4, which is a 2000... So it says year 104, just add that to 1900. So that's a 2004 tech. But I think all the other techs are underneath of it as well. Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this video up here, call it to a close a little bit quicker than I expected. So for now, thanks for watching, and take care.